Isn't it time for illegal ham in the face? But bro, where's the banjo?
Some Cleveland sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face. Talking all Cleveland sports. And don't forget our Fat Boy Tuesday, where we also ham it up with some fun food topics. Without further ado, let's serve up some ham. Here are the Ham Boys, Fatty, and Big Bry.
But Dad...
Oh, what is going on, everybody, with the beautiful week here in April? It is draft week, Bry. One of our favorite times.
Yeah.
So first off, how you doing, big fella?
Oh, doing fantastic. Seems like it's been 9 months, 10 months. We've been waiting for this draft, and it's the same thing over and over. They've kind of jerked us around, but it's finally here. It's hard to believe.
It's crazy, isn't it? Well, let's get into our show tonight. Tonight, I got trivia tonight, which is brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland. We're going to dive straight into the Cleveland Browns and the draft. Pick at number 2, pick at 33, a sleeper. We're going to do a little mock first 10 picks. Then we're going to get into the Cavs playoffs against the Miami Heat right now, and how we like their chances going through until the Eastern Conference Finals, hopefully, and play Boston. Fat Boy Tuesday. We're talking birthday cakes, brother. Got one yesterday for my birthday, which everybody, thank you so much for reaching out. I appreciate it. Love all of you. Justin's in here, said shout out to Fatty for getting another year older. Yep, definitely there. And then top 3 tonight. What did I have written down, Brian? I completely forgot what I had for top 3 tonight.
Biggest draft day surprises.
Yes. And that's going to be all time, Brian. So anybody that got picked or just it floored you, like, wow, this actually happened on draft day. We're going to get into it. So thank you for everybody for joining in. Please give us that like, subscribe, and follow on all of our socials at Ham Illegal and on at Network 216. YouTube, subscribe, everything. All right, Bri. Man, I can't believe it's draft week. I am so pumped for Thursday night. You have no idea. I mean, how excited are you? You got to be super pumped because this is like your bread and butter. Like, you love this.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I love the draft. I can't wait for it all to happen. Thursday night, I feel like might be a bit of a buzzkill just because we kind of know what they're going to do. Now, we don't know what might happen later in the round, so that's kind of what is worth staying up for. I got a long day of work, so I'll probably pass out after the 10th pick or something and then record it and kind of watch it the next day. But yeah, who knows? I mean, at this point, anything's possible.
Yeah, Justin feels like the Browns are going to have a great draft. I guess from what we heard today, there's some news that we'll get into once we hit the Cleveland headlines. Shout outs right now, Justin, shout out for riding a 62-mile bike ride in 3 hours and 10 minutes on Saturday. Holy cow, Bri. That's a lot.
20 miles an hour.
Yeah, it is. Holy shit, it is.
Crazy.
All right, Bri, do you have any shout outs this week, my brother?
My only shout out was you. Cheers to you. Getting a little older. Hopefully a little wiser still.
No, that ship has sailed, buddy. It's all down.
Well, a little older. Another candle on the cake.
Yeah, it's definitely another candle on the cake. That cake's getting full of candles now, let me tell you. I just got a shout out. Sunday was my wife and I's anniversary. Shout her out. And then today is my nephew's birthday. Tristan, he is a teenager now, Bri. Holy boy, he's a teenager. So a 13-year-old running around down in Columbus. Oh, that's some teenage angst right there my sister's going to have to put up with. I can't wait for that. So shout out to him for his birthday. And then other than that, Bri, I just want to get into the show and just get popping. Let's get to our trivia, which is brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland. And it is my turn for trivia tonight. And Bri, I got a draft doozy for you. You ready?
Absolutely.
Our trivia is always brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland. Please go help out a city dog from City Dogs Cleveland. Bri, they did the Columbus Crew game. They were there in their normal spot.
Oh, right.
21. What a turnout for that. 65,000 people turned out for that, Bri.
Wow. Awesome.
Pretty much probably all to see Messi, but I understand. Crew's got a huge following. But they were there, Bri. We got the 5K coming up. We got the tailgate at WJ Lodge in Berea that we've been reached out. Somebody asked us to enter the mac and cheese contest, Bri. So if you got a mac and cheese recipe that you would like to bring, we'll bring it in for the Ham Boys. I got one in mind.
Okay.
But we do it all for adoptable dogs like this beautiful pup. Sinead, right here. Look at that beautiful face. She is in need for a home. She is a beautiful girl. Right? Look at that face, right? Can't. It just same face every picture. It's the same face every picture. Like there's nothing else. Just that one. At least the ears are up and the tongue's out.
Oh yeah, sure.
We do it for them.
Personality.
We do it for them and Sinead and everybody else at City Dogs Cleveland. So please, if you can adopt. But if you cannot, volunteer, donate, do whatever you can to help out a city dog from City Dogs Cleveland. All right, Bri, here we go, bud. It is draft time, and I got a draft doozy for you. All right?
All right.
There are two teams that have not, and I repeat, have not drafted a quarterback in the first round in 35 years. Can you name those two teams?
Okay, I can try. Yeah, one. But it's just a guess.
By the way, one of those teams, it's been 53 years since they drafted a quarterback in the first round.
So that's an old team. Okay. All right. I'll come up with something.
All right. Well, let's get this show started. Let's get the party bumping. I don't know if Chris is in here yet, but it's time for your Cleveland headlines. All right, first off, tonight for your Cleveland headlines, Guards are playing the Yankees right now. They're on a 4-game heater. Doing good. What a game last night with a back-to-back Jose and Manzo home run. Manzo has homered in the last 3 games going. Playing the Yankees tonight. They get another game tomorrow with the Yankees. But right now, Guards are hanging in there, bud. They're hanging around 500, but they got 3-game sweep against Pittsburgh. We just go status quo, just giving everybody an update about the Guards. Okay. Brian, are you excited about the Guards and Manzo crushing the ball? Did you see the home run he hit off his Skeens and put it in the river? Jeez.
Yeah, something to get excited about. It's awesome. I mean, I was looking to see, like, well, is he mashing? Is he just killing the ball? Is he having a breakout season? I think he's only, I don't want to put a damper on it, but I think he's under 250 his batting average. But he's hitting for power, and that's something that the Guardians don't have right now. So, whenever you can put instant runs on the board, 2-3 at a time, we'll take it. So hopefully the average will catch up. But yeah, it's very exciting, especially doing it off Skeens, who's been the media darling for the last year and a half. That was quite the highlight to see, and then them taking care of business against the Yankees last night. It's been quite a run.
All right. The other news from the Guardians, they have designated out Tristan McKenzie. Sticks is probably going to be no longer with the team, designated for assignment. Not good. Ever since he has screwed up his elbow, man, he has not been the same. I don't know what the path is for him or what's going to happen, but it's crazy how it's a flash in the pan. He came out so hot and then just can't get it together. But we send best wishes to him. Hope he can find it again. Hopefully he can come back. Bry, next up, Cavs. We got our team. We're playing the Miami Heat. We already won game 1 by 20 points. Tyler Hero and Bam are the only two that kind of scare me. I got on the Across the Cavs podcast after game 1. And Brian, I was shocked at Ty Jerome going off for 28 points. Him, Kenny Atkinson, and Evan Mobley all are going for awards. Ty for Sixth Man of the Year, Kenny for Coach of the Year, and Evan for Defensive Player of the Year. Brian, they didn't get much except from pretty much Donovan and Ty Jerome, but that's kind of all they needed. And man, it's just nice seeing Cavs basketball and actually playing great basketball. What did you think about the first game, and did you actually catch it?
Yeah, well, with it being on Easter, I was kind of late to the party after putting baby down. I joined towards the end of the first half, and then I caught all the second half. But yeah, I mean, a 20-point win, and I feel like we had maybe B plus game. Ty Jerome had A game, and that's kind of all that really mattered. Because I think he, as the playoffs go on, he could be the difference for this Cavs team. We all think, the Cavs are probably second fiddle to Boston right now, but I think a lot of us are kind of thinking of the Cavs team from last year. If he can do stuff like that, yeah, he can absolutely be a difference maker, and he really, he takes the pressure off almost the whole team. But especially Darius Garland. Darius Garland can have 10 points. If Ty Jerome's going off, Darius Garland doesn't have to play as much. He can have a 10-point game. We see from Evan Mobley. What did he end up? Did he end up with 9? Did he even score in the second half?
He did not. Trust me. I saw the bet I had. He did not.
Yeah, me too. I saw at halftime he had 9 points, and I placed a small wager on him to get 15. And I don't even know if he took a shot. Like he was as involved in the Cavs offense as you and I were. So, I mean, is that a game plan thing? Is that him just not feeling it? Is that just Ty Jerome being on fire and everyone just, hey, let him do his work and we'll get the ball to him? And, all that stuff, I don't know. I know I was excited. I don't get a chance to watch a ton of Cavs regular season games unless they're on national TV because I don't have Bally's or whatever they're calling it now. So I was excited to see, because I've heard all season long how Evan Mobley is taking this gigantic step forward. And so I was like, it kind of looks like the old Evan Mobley to me. Now I'm not going to dismiss that just based on one game, but I don't know if he just needs to get more aggressive or what. Maybe a closer game will force him to kind of come out of his shell and make some plays. But we'll be looking for that. I think the Cavs are just a more talented team than the Heat. But the series is by no means over. I feel like we were saying a lot of these same things last year after the first and second game against the Magic, where we just blew them out. And I'm like, the Magic, Cavs are going to sweep. Let's see who we playing in the second round. And then the Magic came back in their house and they won a couple. And now all of a sudden you're going 7 games with a team that maybe you shouldn't have. So I'm not getting ahead of myself by any means. The 20-point win is great. Ty Jerome was great. Other than that, I wasn't super impressed by anything else that I really saw. If you want to say the defense against Tyler Hero in the second half was great.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to that, but I didn't really go back and watch the game a second time. So I don't know if that was just him going into a shell or him getting lazy or just kind of cold. But we certainly shut him down in that second half. So I'm excited to watch game 2, see what it's all about. But I think we still have a lot of work left to do. And like you said, there's nobody really that scares you a whole lot on the Heat team. If they had Jimmy Butler, it'd be a different story. But Tyler Hero, Bam, Bam had a maybe 5 or 6 minute spurt there where he was looking pretty much like an all NBA guy. He was hitting shots, he was getting rebounds, playing solid defense. So he has that in him, and maybe he intimidates Mobley a little bit. He's certainly more of a specimen. He's more physical in his game, and so maybe that gets into Mobley's head a little bit. But I don't know. This is all just over analyzing game one. If Mobley goes out and gets 25 points and 14 boards, then I'll look like an idiot. But I just need to see more from them. But how could you possibly complain about a 20-point win? We didn't need our A game, like I said, so they got it done. Like you talked about, like you said last week, they're going to try to do it with 10, 11 guy rotation, and it worked for one game.
9.
So as long as you can do that, 9 guys, keep them fresh. I saw a lot of Merrill. out
Which
there.
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
he was actually playing really good defense. He was on Tyler Hero a lot, which kind of shocked me because they went small. So they went Garland, Jerome, Merrill. And I was like, what is this lineup? And, granted, Merrill didn't really score that many points, but his defense and his hustle was just on point. And I was like, okay, now I'm seeing this. Like Dean Wade really didn't get in the game until like the last handful of minutes when, they needed a little refresher for the bigs. But with like Evan Mobley, I hear what you're saying. I think we need Evan to get a little bit more aggressive. But what I loved about Evan, though, is when Jared Allen was out, he was a rim protector. He was down there just disrupting everything. And I think that kind of took away from his offense was his defense down on the other end. And he actually did amazing defensively down there. I mean, I know Bam went on his little spurt, but to keep Bam and everybody out of the paint, and I saw a couple blocks of his, I'm just happy that we didn't go into this thinking that it was just going to be a pushover win. And what I love about this Miami team, Bri, is I think this is going to help out the Cavs for the rest of the playoffs. You have a hard-nosed defensive team in the Miami Heat, championship caliber with Hero and Abayu, some of the guys that are there. I think this game is going to go more than what, I think it's not going to be a gentleman's sweep, but I think it's going to be a fun series to watch. But I also think this is going to help out the Cavs because it's pretty much getting the Cavs locked into playoff mode. Because if you were playing like the Hawks are going to have an off night. I don't see Miami having all these off horrible nights. Like they're going to hang in. They're going to keep it close. They kept it close most of this game. Like it really didn't balloon up that much past 11 points. It was all within, that range of 7 and 11, and they even got closer. But I think this is perfect for the Cavs. I think this is going to give the Cavs a wake-up call and let them go into the playoffs the way they should, which is strong. One thing I did love, the aggressiveness of Jarrett Allen in the first quarter, Bri. 8 rebounds in the first quarter. 8 rebounds in the first quarter. And the tap ends, the defense down low, like he wasn't letting anybody get in the paint around him. And watching him do that gave me a little bit of confidence because I told you beforehand, I needed to see Jared Allen and Evan Mobley play big down low. And Jared Allen came out and set the tone right out of the gate.
Yeah, he just gives you a workman's effort every time. Nothing that he does is ever going to be spectacular. When he's shooting 70% and 80% of his shots are within 5 feet, and he's a great defensive player, but he's not going to have these Sports Center high rise and blocks. But he's just going to get it done every night in, night out. He's going to be a constant for this team. So you like to see that. And, one thing that I didn't even really cross my mind until we're starting to talk about it now is DeAndre Hunter. I didn't hear boo about at all. No. Didn't even hear his name or didn't even cross my mind. DeAndre Hunter needs to do something here. I feel like I saw more 4 points. I saw more, like I said, of Sam Merrill and Okoro.
That's true.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, gosh, I saw Okoro just brick after brick after brick from 3-point land. The only thing we have going off our bench right now is Ty Jerome, and I think I think Merrill hit maybe 2 threes.
Yeah, he did.
But so yeah, I mean, you got 5 guys, maybe 6 guys if you want to include Jared Allen. That can really score the ball. So if you wanted, that's the nice thing about what the Cavs have going right now with their setup is you could have 1 or 2 guys that gets hot at night and go off and you can win. So you don't need everybody clicking on all cylinders. And I think, don't get me wrong, I'm critical of this Cavs team because I have high expectations and high hopes for them because of what I saw in the regular season. But they can absolutely sweep the Heat. The Heat are a good team, are a well-coached team, are a fundamental team, but they do lack talent. And so if you stay focused and it's your goal to sweep them, yeah, I have confidence in Kenny Atkinson that he's not going to let it be a gentleman's sweep. He's not going to let us do what Boston did throughout the playoffs last season, where they took 1 game off every single series and they got blown out by 20 or 30 points. I don't think Kenny Atkinson's going to do that. He's going to be like, let's finish the job. Let's get some time to rest. And then let's start getting ready for the next series. So, I mean, if we play that well and hopefully a little bit better, yeah, I think there's a chance that it only goes 4.
All right, well, we'll see. They play again Wednesday night. Now, what sucks is that's going to be on NBA TV. So I don't even know how.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I don't know how we're going to watch that one, but we'll figure it out.
Shame on the NBA for doing that. The number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and you're putting them on NBA TV. I understand last year when it was a 4 versus 5, Cavs versus Magic. Yeah, you want to do that, but the number 1, if the Celtics were number 1, they would never do that. So screw them.
We're not
disrespectful.
We're not Boston. We're not New York.
Yeah.
We're not LA. But that's how it is. All right, Brian. It's draft time, buddy. And Justin said money. Yeah, it's true. It's money. Draft time, buddy. All right. We have reports today from Adam Schefter that the Browns and the Giants are fielding trade calls for picks number 2 and 3. I don't know what that's going to come from fruition. Everybody's going to answer the phone. Bri, it has been pretty much steadfast for about the past 2 weeks. It's Travis Hunter. Obviously, Cam Ward is probably going to go number 1 to Tennessee. And if that doesn't happen, then, buddy, it is going to be a melee of what's going to happen after that. Because if Cam Ward does not go 1, you might as well throw the book out the window because this draft is going to get crazy. But from what I'm hearing, it is supposed to be chalk. It's supposed to be Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter, 1, 2, and 3. Unless there are trades going around. Bri, now that I think about it more, I was skeptical of Travis Hunter. I'll even admit it. We go back to the past shows that we've had. I'm skeptical of a smaller wide receiver. I'm skeptical of a 2-way player. But people are talking me into it now, saying, Bri, this guy can play wide receiver for you. He can spot play cornerback for you, like we talked about, third downs, specialties of that nature. You got a 2-way player. Now, the thing is, hopefully he pans out. But from what everybody is saying, from what all the scouts are saying, and not us, we're not scouts. We don't know what's going on. But what scouts are saying is Travis Hunter is the number 1 blue chip player in this draft. You have a chance to take him at 2, Bri. Are we going to take him?
Well, that's all signs point to that. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'd be shocked. I would be shocked if we don't take him. I'd be really shocked if we draft somebody else at 2. But, I think the trade down scenario is still semi-realistic, I'd say. Excuse me, the Schefter report today about the Browns fielding calls for 2, I think, is the biggest non-story out there. I mean, of course, and anybody's going to feel, hey, you want to give me 3 number 1s? Heck yeah, I'll trade down. You want to give me a 1 this year and 2 2s? I'll probably trade down for that too. But nobody's going to do that in this draft, especially you don't really see that very often unless it's like an elite prospect or usually a quarterback needy team moving up. So, yeah, with Travis Hunter, yeah, I'm with you. A lot of my concern, like I said last week, was injury concern, and but outside of that, you can't really project injuries. We think we can, but you can't do. He's been healthy most of his collegiate career, and one thing that I do like about Travis Hunter is, he's been an elite football player pretty much since high school, I guess. Maybe sophomore year, junior year, freshman year of high school. I don't know. But coming out, he was the number 2 overall prospect, maybe number 1 by some people's measures. And he went to Jackson State and he dominated there. And then he went to Colorado and he dominated there and won the Heisman. Now, if you want to make the argument that he's not playing top competition, I could listen to that. But I still think, maybe he might not put up quite the numbers that he did at Colorado, but he's still going to be a difference maker if he plays in the Big Ten or the SEC. You'll still notice him. He'll still be somebody that the defense has to account for, play in and play out. So, yeah, I'm excited for him. I don't know my comps for him. I guess, just thinking like last week, I kind of compared him to Jerry Jeudy. I think maybe he can be like, I think that's maybe the baseline.
There's a lot of Malik Neighbors comps with him.
I don't see that. No, I think Malik Neighbors is, I don't know what their sizes are. But yeah, I think Hunter's a little bit smaller, but maybe hands or how they play the ball, maybe that's similar to Neighbors. I've heard Odell Beckham, I don't know. I can't really speak to that. Maybe that'd be great if he's like good Odell, and he certainly has a better attitude than Odell has. But yeah, I think
New York Giants Odell.
Right, absolutely. Before he became Hollywood Odell.
Yeah.
So Jerry Jeudy, the other one I thought of was a Devontae Smith for the Eagles. He was kind of a skinny guy, smaller guy coming out, and he's had a really good career. I don't think many people would put him in their top 10 wide receivers in the NFL. Same with Jerry Jeudy, but they're both probably top 20 guys.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what you're looking at, and then maybe he does exceed expectations, and I wouldn't say there's no chance he'd be a top 5 receiver in this league. But right now, I feel comfortable comparing him to those guys who have had a lot of success in the league. But yeah, some people say Justin Jefferson. I think that's just people being lazy, like saying, who's the best receiver in the NFL? Yeah, this is the best college receiver. Let's just compare the two of those guys. I think Justin Jefferson coming out of college wasn't Justin Jefferson right now. So I think, there's going to be a lot of work, and you have to have a good quarterback, obviously. But I'm excited for him. Yeah, at this point, you asked me last week, is there anything I'd be disappointed with? I don't think I'd really be super disappointed with a whole lot of it, but at this point, it's Travis Hunter, and I've accepted that, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see him, because if he's as good as he's been in college, then, we have ourselves a fantastic player and somebody who the city of Cleveland can really get excited about, which feels like it hasn't happened for a few seasons now.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like the only thing I worry about, Bri, is they're making the pick for, and I don't want to word it this way, but they're making the pick for a flash. And it's a splash pick because there's a lot of hype behind it. There's a lot of buzz with it. Bri, the last time we did that, hey, Johnny Money was the last time we did something like that, and Money Manziel.
Yeah, but the 22, that was at 22, not at 2.
No, but I understand that. But I mean, if he is everybody's scouted, and everybody says he is the number 1 guy in the NFL draft, we're going to get him at 2. You got to take him, Bri, and you got to take him. You got to see what happens. And the other thing I like about it is obviously we've done great with cornerback selections. Greg Newsome, Emerson is he took a little step back. Denzel Ward. You're also going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, who just signed T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, 2 elite wide receivers. You're going to need somebody to cover them. So at least on certain downs, if you can get him to play, I know he wants to play both ways. I still think you have to pitch clock him on defense and let him play offense. And let's just say, hey, it's 2nd down and 13. All right, go in. It's a 3rd down passing play. Go in and shut it down, depending on the situation. I don't see him playing a full offense and defense in the NFL. If he does, more power to him. We've never seen that before. Ever. I don't think, when was the last person we've had like that to play all offense and all defense? We haven't had many.
Never. Never.
Because
There's been
I
a
know
couple that it's kind of done bits and pieces here and there.
But it was either a cornerback, let's just say Chris Gamble, just because Ohio State. Chris Gamble played a lot of cornerback, but they would bring him in on offense every now and then to run a sweep because of his athletic ability. You haven't seen too many people play that much on that. I hope that they just make the right decision, Bri, and they don't do anything stupid like the Browns are known to do.
Yeah, I don't think. I think, you have to be ultra careful because obviously shiny new toy. You want to take advantage of all that he has to offer. But I think they're smart enough to know, hey, let's feel it out first. We really want him to be an offensive guy. So we're going to focus on that first and see how he handles that. And then, maybe put him in as the season goes on defensively. But one thing the scouts and the people that know have raved about is his conditioning. And just how he doesn't seem to get tired. And, his coach, Deion, brought up how more plays are run in college. And so, the difference to me is just the physicality of the NFL game and the hits that he's going to take as wide receiver and the hits he's going to have to dish out on guys, like we said, Derrick Henry and trying to track down Lamar Jackson and whoever the Steelers have as their running back now is, those are going to pile up. But I think there's a possibility that he can do it. The other thing, and it's not something to worry about now, is you worry how it's going to affect his longevity, his career length. Is he a guy? Is he more like a running back? After 30 years old, he's really, starting to go downhill pretty quickly. But all those are problems for 5-10 years down the road. I'm at this point, I'm just excited to see. And when he goes in on defense, you're going to be looking for where is Travis Hunter. He's going to be must see TV. Once you watch him a little bit on offense, once he goes in on defense, you're really going to lock in and see what he does. And like Deion Sanders said, how are you going to be able to keep that guy on the sidelines if Joe Burrow's burning our cornerbacks and we have a guy who might be our second best cornerback just sitting on the sidelines and he's just screaming to get in? How are you going to be able to do that?
And also, Bri, he's young. He might get in here. He might play 1 or 2 seasons both ways and then just make the decision like, I can't do this anymore. My body can't do this anymore. I'm sticking to one. I hope everybody's okay with that. It might be a decision down the road that he might change. And, we'll find out if he does. But, like, he's truly adamant about doing the both ways. He's come out publicly and said it. And, if he can do it, that's amazing. But, Bri, first couple licks that you take in the NFL, a lot of people kind of go, okay, that did not feel normal. And it's not like you're playing Jackson State. It's not like you're playing, teams in the Big 12 that, I'm not saying that there's not top talent in the Big 12 or SE, wherever they're at now, Pac-12. It's all changed so much. But it's not like there's not talent there, Bri, but it's a different talent than what you would get in the SEC. It's also a different talent than what you would get in the Big 10. And granted, he did it. He won the Heisman. I'm not saying that. Good night. Just, he won the Heisman. You can't knocking for that because he was the most electric player this year in college football. And to get a chance to draft him at 2, I know I was kind of down on the whole idea, and I was hoping for like Abdul Carter, opposite of Myles Garrett. But Brian, this almost sounds like it's just a done deal. We just need to turn in the ticket, like draft day. Hey, no matter what, Vontae Mack, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, I'd be shocked if it wasn't Hunter. And one thing that I like about the position that the Browns are in is now, we already know Cam Ward's going 1. Unless somebody blows you away with a trade offer, we got Travis Hunter. So really, we're just we're stuck sitting there watching the rest of the first round intently and seeing, what unfolds. And we have probably all these different scenarios that we've discussed ahead of time. What do we do if this guy starts to slide? What do we do if this quarterback goes to 25, 26, 27? At what point do we trade up? Do we love these quarterbacks enough? Is there this prospect good enough to where we have to go up and get him? So you can start focusing on 33. Once you draft, right now, we basically have Travis Hunter in our pocket. And so we don't even have to worry about Thursday. We can start talking about Friday and all the scenarios that might come with that 33rd pick. And then you'll have a whole day after the draft. The first round ends on Thursday. You'll have a whole day to discuss and take phone calls for that 33rd pick if you don't trade up. So, I'm excited about. I think everything is really set up for Andrew Berry to be successful this year, and he has no excuses on. It's almost like at this point, Travis Hunter's become like Myles Garrett, like just turn in the card. That's all you have to do. He's the best prospect in this draft. You get him at 2. And he kind of fills needs for you. And one thing that not a ton of people are talking about, because he has such tremendous on the field skill, is just off the field. It's like he's a solid guy. He's somebody who can be your face of your franchise and kids can look up to. And considering what we've gone through over the last few years, I think that's huge. And he has a mentor in Deion Sanders, who kind of gets a lot of press for being all this flash and everything, but he's a good dude. He's a solid guy. He's somebody that can be an asset for somebody like Travis Hunter. And honestly, I think to shift the focus maybe to Shedeur Sanders, I think maybe in some weird way in the back of the Browns' minds, I think that might factor in a little bit. Like, do we really want to take Shedeur at any point? Because as soon as you draft the team that drafts Shedeur, the clock is ticking on their jobs, on their job status. As soon as there's any talk about should we get rid of this guy, it's going to be, hey, people calling in. We got to go. Let's hire Deion. We got the son. He's already said he already said he wants to coach his son. Let's go get Deion's. I'm just telling you how it's going to be for the team that ends up with the Shedeur, and it's probably not going to be the Browns, but it's Deion will coach his son in the NFL at some point. So, is that after a 4-13 season? Is that after a 9-8 season? At what point do you make the switch to Deion? And it's a lot like the Bill Belichick scenario. Why the Falcons didn't hire Bill Belichick, because the GM knew, hey, if we hire this guy, it's just a matter of time before we lose our jobs. So let's not, even though he might be best for our franchise, we don't want to take him because it seriously jeopardizes our job security. So I wonder if that has anything to do with the teams wanting to stay away from Shedeur.
God, I love you. I didn't even think of that until you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And dude,
absolutely, that would be a factor.
In the chin like a kisser, because I kind of agree with you. I think it would happen if somebody did draft Shedeur Sanders and it just went bad. And it's like, all right, bring in Deion. I can hear the phone calls on the King Carmen show right now with Anthony Lima about, well, we
Yeah.
need Dion. That's why Shador's not playing great. We need Dion.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, and how would it affect Shador as well?
Exactly.
He's been coached by his dad for the last 4 years, 3 years, whatever. Basically his whole life.
There you
But
go.
professionally, the last 3 or 4 years. If Kevin Stefanski wants him to run this offense and do it this way, and he says, Dad, they're not using my skills correctly. They want me to do this. We've done this all this time and it's worked and we've had so much success. I want to do it this way, but they're telling me to do it this way. And, his dad's going to say, well, yeah, you got to do what you got to do or whatever. So that's going to kind of be a point where the coach and his dad, their two philosophies might differ, and what do you do? And so you're just kind of inviting headaches that way. And now I'm sure he's going to tell teams what they want to hear and, be a good soldier and whatnot and do what the coaches tell. But in the back of his mind, he's got to be thinking like, I'm struggling in the NFL. If you would just let me do it the way I did it with my dad in college, we would be so much more successful. And so, it could get messy that way.
All right. Well, let's go to 33, Bri. 33. Yep. Do you think that they'll trade back into the first round?
Well, since we're talking about, I think not knowing what they think of this quarterback class, they could think every quarterback coming out this year is a third-round grade. We don't know. But I think there's got to be something that's enticing about pairing Shador and Travis Hunter together. So I think if Shador starts sliding, you have to seriously consider, do we trade up to get him? He's not perfect. We're not taking him at 2, but these two guys, they work so well together. They're like brothers. And they've turned program around at Jackson State. They did it at Colorado. I know they had Dion as the head coach, and that was a big part of it as well. But these two guys know what it's like to completely revamp a locker room and completely take control and change the culture of these new places that they're just stepping into. So having the two of them together, I would think would be enticing. Is for sure would be for me as a Browns fan, even though I kind of have gone back and forth on Shador. I don't think he's an elite talent, but just having those two guys together, I'm sure they would work with Myles Garrett and try to change the culture in Cleveland. So yeah, that would be exciting.
Yeah, it's different because it's kind of backwards, Bri, but I kind of do the, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow getting drafted where he was, and he says, hey, I need my wide receiver. I need Jamar Chase.
Sure.
It might be the same thing. Like Hunter gets drafted and he goes, hey, he's still on the board. Go get him. I don't know if Travis Hunter could sway that much, but I mean, if they think of that way, I mean, I prefer they stay at 33 and take a pick at 33, especially with, you got 10 picks, you got 5 picks in the first 100 picks. I would stay at 33, but if you're going to jump back into the first round, you're jumping back in for a quarterback, and that's my position. You're not jumping back in for anything else. So if you're jumping back in, it's going to be either Shador Sanders, Jackson Dart, dare I say Milroe, or the guy from Louisville that, threw it underhanded and just, yeah. I don't know. But that's the only scenario I see is them jumping back in the first round is for a quarterback. That's it. Now, if it's at
I agree.
No pick 22, though, that is off limits. Off limits.
No. Yeah. Does any of that entice you? Say all three of those guys make it down to 25, 26. Are you kind of hoping that they move up to get one? Or are you like, oh, let's just see if any of them fall to 33?
I might wait a little bit because, obviously the last handful of teams are not going to need a quarterback.
Yeah, but the thought is the Giants will move up. The Raiders will move up. These other teams, not all these quarterbacks are going to fall to you at 33.
I'm not sold on any of them to do that, Brian. I'm really not.
Even if it only costs you like a 5th rounder?
Well, we already spent a 5th rounder on Kenny Pickett. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, so at what point in time, how is this going to happen? Are we going to give Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett the chance to do something here and then see what next year is going to bring as a quarterback, or bring in a rookie later? Because I could see them doing that. I could see them bringing in a 4th or 5th round selection quarterback, maybe even a 3rd round, depending on who's there. But I don't see them jumping back in to get a quarterback. I really don't.
Even at 33, you don't think they'll take a quarterback?
God, I don't think so. I really don't. I think there's too much talent in the top 50 of this draft that I don't think they'll take a quarterback at 33. I think they will go probably an edge rusher, or I wouldn't say defensive tackle, but it'd probably be an edge rusher. So they probably go wide receiver, edge rusher, and then in the 3rd round, probably a running back and a quarterback. Maybe even a running back later. We'll see.
Right.
But I mean, do you think they would draft a quarterback at 33?
No, we see very similar. I think, except I don't think, if you're getting Travis Hunter at 2, I think that takes wide receiver off the board. You're not drafting a wide receiver at 33. But yeah, I'm with you. I think if you really fall in love with one of these quarterbacks, you have to move up into the bottom of the 1st round to go get them. And like I said, Shedeur Sanders would entice me. Maybe for some reason they fell in love with a Milroe or a Jackson Dart, and we just don't see it. But I think if you're sitting at 30, if you're waiting till 33, I would be very surprised if you draft a quarterback at 33. I mean, because this team still needs so much. You got Travis Hunter, hooray, we'll celebrate. But you can't just – and what I think of when I think about them drafting a quarterback at 33, it just makes it really messy. Because what are you saying? What are you saying about that quarterback? He's not a 1st-round pick. I know he's one removed, but is this your franchise quarterback of the future? Like, what do you do next season? How do you split up the reps? How do you decide who's starting what? Like, if you draft the quarterback at 2, all right, that's you're planting your flag. That's your franchise guy. But if you wait till 33, at what point do you transition to this quarterback? Like, even if you draft, let's say, a Milroe, to use that as an example, and you let him sit for 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and then he goes in and he plays 4 or 5 games, and he looks okay. He looks decent. Does that prevent you from drafting a quarterback high next year? Just because you had a 2nd-round quarterback this year who looked okay, and you have this great quarterback crop coming out next year, what we all think. But it just makes it very messy. And then say you do that, so you do draft a quarterback 1st round next year. Now it almost makes this 22nd or 33rd pick a waste. It's a lottery pick, So I think you need so much. You take the best player available at 33. And from what I heard the other day, the last 3 years, the teams that had the 33rd pick have traded it 3 years in a row. So I think it's more likely you trade down from 33 to pick up some extra picks maybe next year, 2nd rounder or something next year. Yeah, I'll drop 8 spots or 10 spots or whatever to get an extra pick next year. But yeah, I think you have to go best player available and maybe even think about what your needs are. I agree with you with the quarterback and the running back in the 3rd round. Because I think that's where if you don't force it, you don't just take the highest rated quarterback, highest rated running back. But if you like a guy in the 3rd round and you think he can help you, we've talked about how deep this running back draft is. So if you get the 6th or the 7th best running back, I think he'll be decent in our system. And, that's when I think if you take a quarterback at 96, I'm more comfortable that you got 3 solid players before you went with your lottery ticket quarterback in the 3rd round. But when I think of 33, when I think of our 2nd round pick, to me, Yeah, I think I think you're looking up the middle. Since we drafted Travis Hunter, and we talked about taking a quarterback and a running back in the third round. We got to get defense at some point. Up the middle, we are weak. We are weak on the defense up the middle. Defensive tackles, linebackers, safeties not named Grant Delpit. We have very, very little of that. So I would lean towards defensive tackle. If a guy like Kenneth Grant from Michigan, or the Ole Miss guy, Nolan something, All-American, if he falls that far, I would definitely. And I know Andrew Berry hasn't had a great track record when it comes to defensive tackles, but that's a major spot of need. And then if there's a playmaker, if there's a special linebacker or safety there, then I consider them as well.
All right, Bry, sleeper. Is there a sleeper that you want the Browns to pick up?
No, I'm trying to rack my brain for somebody, that goes outside of the first 3 rounds that really excite me. I don't know. If we take a flyer on a guy and you bet on his talent, who might have off the field issues, like a Bond from Texas, that would excite me a little bit. But then at the same time, I think of all the times the Browns have done this in the past, and it just hasn't worked out. These low character guys with a bunch of talent never seems to work out for him. Even Josh Gordon, gave us a little taste, but it ultimately he really didn't help us win anything. So I would say, I don't know. I don't have a great answer for you. Is there a guy that you love or you're looking towards?
There's one from Ohio State, and
I can give you Michigan guys.
Well, no, it's just Bry. It's just it fits the system. He'd be an edge rusher. JT.
Oh yeah.
Last name. Like if you can pick him up later on, I think that would be a great grab. The one guy I kind of got my eye on, Bry, and I know a lot of people are high on the running back from Iowa. I'm telling you, that kid from Arizona State, Cam Skeet.
No, you're one of those guys.
But it's just
he's slow.
He might be slow, but man, he's got vibes like Christian McCaffrey. I don't know what it is.
I think you said it right there. I think people are falling in love with the white running back. That is Peyton Hillis all over again.
And who donned the cover of Madden Football.
I know, right?
And stole the hearts of the Cleveland Browns for 1.5 years.
No, he's a bruiser. He's a bruiser. He could give you a little something. I'm not. He looked good against Texas. Other than that, I don't know much about the guy.
But I would like that kid from Iowa, though.
Oh, I would too. They say he gives Nick Chubb vibes, and so I think he's definitely somebody that you look at in the third round. With that first pick, if he makes it there. I've seen a lot of people saying he's the 5th best running back behind the Ohio State guys, so I don't know for sure if he would make it that far. But if he does, I'll probably be rooting for that guy, Caleb Johnson.
Right. Let's do a quick mock first 10 pick. All right. Obviously, Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward, we're both on board, right?
Yep.
All right. Cleveland Browns, both on board with Travis Hunter.
Yes, sir.
All right, here's where it gets interesting. New York Giants. Bry, I say they take Abdul Carter.
Now, is this what we think is going to happen?
That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay, I would agree with you. I disagree with the pick just because they have good edge rushers already. They got Thibodeau, who they drafted high a couple years ago, and they paid and gave up a lot to get Brian Burns. So those are their 2 edge rushers. Why do they need a third edge rusher at 3? I just think because there's not a lot of top talent in this draft. If there was, they would go a different direction.
Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to do. There it is. All right. So we did Kim Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. You said no on Abdul though for third.
No, I think everybody's talking about him going 3 to the Giants. But if I was the Giants, I'd look at somebody else, probably Genty. Considering they're still licking their wounds from losing Saquon. Right.
Yeah. All right. So number 4, New England Patriots. Bry, I have them taking McMillan.
Okay. I think they're going to try to protect their young quarterback.
Okay.
The trendy pick lately has been Will Campbell.
Okay.
But there's a lot of debate between, is he a guard? Is he a tackle? But yeah, I mean, to give you a name, I'll say Will Campbell, I guess.
All right. We'll put that on there. Next up, Jacksonville Jaguars. Bry, this is where I see Mason Graham going off.
I think every mock draft I've seen since January has had Mason Graham there. So clearly they know something. So yeah, sure, I'll go Mason Graham.
All right, Las Vegas Raiders. Bry, this is where I see Genty going off.
Yeah, people are connecting the dots between Pete Carroll and beast mode, and so I think they're just thinking, yeah, they need a running back. So who might argue? Sure, I'll go Genty there.
All right, now here's where it gets dicey. The New York Jets at pick number 7, Bry.
Huh.
I gotta go, bud. I think this is where Shador falls to.
Wow. Okay.
I think
That'll
they
be
take
something else.
I think they take the flyer, go with Shador here. What do you think?
It would be a shocker if that happened. I would be surprised. I think that would make it fun, though. I wouldn't be against that. I just think them giving a 2-year deal to Justin Fields, and I think maybe committing $20 million a year to him. That's not a ton for a quarterback, but I think that kind of will take them out of the quarterback market this year. I think a lot of people have the tackle from Missouri.
Okay. Yeah, Walter Nolan.
Is that his name from Missouri?
Yeah.
I'll say I'm going to go with the edge from Georgia, though.
Maliki Start. Oh, no. Never mind. That's the safety. Edge from Georgia. Oh, my God.
Jalen Walker, is it?
Jalen Walker, linebacker. Yeah.
Jalen Walker. Yep. I think that's
Okay.
what I'll go with. Or I don't know. They got 2 edges from Georgia, and I get confused with them. One's Michael Williams, maybe. So whichever one goes higher.
All right. Next up, Carolina Panthers. Bry, I see a defensive back. I see John Day Barron from Texas going there.
Well, I think you got a short quarterback, so you want to pair him with a tall receiver. So I think they got Xavier Legette one side. I think they go McMillan the other side.
Okay. I like it. All right. So we'll go with that one. Number 9, New Orleans Saints, Bry. All right. Boy, oh boy. Man, oh man, they need a little bit of everything, don't they?
Yep.
What would you say about Tyler Warren?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they need a tight end. They can't have what's his face there forever, the do-it-all guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Taysom Hill.
Hey, Taysom Hill. Yeah, sure. That'd be exciting to see him in that offense.
All right. And then finally, but not least, the Chicago Bears. And, Brian, this is where I see the safety from Georgia going off. Malik Starks.
Okay. Bears. So I do have to go back to the Saints. I got Shador going there.
Okay.
Primarily because I don't want him to fall to the Steelers just in case he turns out to be pretty good. So I got Shador 9, the Bears. Oh, I think again they want to protect their rookie quarterback, so I'll give them the tackle from Mizzou.
Okay. All right.
Or Calvin Banks from Texas. I'll go Banks from Texas.
All right. All right. Well, there you hear it here. This is what Brian and I think about the first 10 picks. This is why we are not draft analysts.
What do you think about? Let me get your feelings on the Browns drafting a Mr. Will Howard in the 3rd round. Just to poke the bear a little.
If he was in the 4th round, yes.
3rd round, no?
3rd round, no.
Okay.
The only reason why, Brian, it's not. God, there is so many quarterbacks that are going to be a coin flip later on. You got Riley Leonard, you got Gabriel, you got Quinn Ewers, you got Will Howard. You have a plethora of guys that have seen a lot of games. The one thing I don't want is the Tyler Shuck from Louisville. Just screams Brandon Weeden. And I mean, just screams Brandon Weeden to me.
Sure.
Kid's got a live arm, but he hasn't been healthy. If I had my choice of the quarterbacks, oh my God, and I even forgot about Kyle McCord.
Do you have a preference between Howard and McCord?
No, because I think it would be kind of the same thing, Bri. I know Howard is bigger, a little bit more mobile. The vibes from him, what is he, 6'4", 230. So they're kind of comparing him to like a Josh Allen kind of size. But we always draft 6-foot quarterbacks. And what do you say? We need somebody taller. We need somebody bigger.
Sure do.
What do you think about Will Howard? Would you like that pick if they picked him in the 3rd round?
Well, I mean, of course I wouldn't. Honestly, it makes things messy because you're going to have a lot of Ohio State honks that are going to become Will Howard guy and just scream for Will Howard from day one. And so it's just going to make it messy. But you stole my take that Will Howard and Kyle McCord are kind of the same quarterback. And they're both about probably, late 3rd, early 4th round guys. And it's just, we both listen to sports talk radio and people falling in love with Will Howard because of, the emotional ride that he took on. But my argument is if Will Howard was a Kansas State quarterback, there would be 0 people that would want Will Howard. And my other argument is the only difference between Will Howard and Kyle McCord is a 12-team playoff. Because if Will Howard ends his season losing to Michigan, 0 people would want Will Howard. So,
especially out.
Right. Just take yourself back to put yourself in December 12th. If I asked every Buckeye fan, do you want Will Howard on the Browns? Heck no. I wouldn't even take him with a 7th round pick. Now, you have to give him credit for, a magical run there in January. But to me, that really doesn't change his NFL prospect. So that's why I say, if you love Will Howard and you hate Kyle McCord, you're just a Buckeye honk. You don't really, I'm not going to take your stock super seriously in any of these guys. So yeah, I thought I'd catch you there with your Buckeye love, but well, you saw it more reasonably than I thought.
Well, I mean, Brian, you have to, especially with that. I mean, it's not like he was
you got to separate pro and college.
I know. All right, so Brian, you know what I'm going to do for us? Seems how we're an hour and 5 minutes in. We're going to push birthday cakes to next week. Fat Boy Tuesday next week, we are doing birthday cakes. We're going to do our top 3 in trivia, and then we're going to get out of here. So, Brian, let's do our trivia first, and then we'll do our top 3. So the trivia tonight brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland. Bri, I asked you, there are only 2 teams that have not drafted a quarterback in the first round in 35 years. Can you name me those 2 teams?
I did come up with 2 names. You said one was like 50 or 60 years?
53 years.
Okay. So the team I'm thinking was 53 years because I believe Drew Brees was the first pick of the second round. Or no, he wasn't even drafted by the Saints. The Saints. Saints are my first guess.
New Orleans Saints, their only quarterback was Archie Manning. They drafted in the first round.
Wow. All right. Good deal.
1971.
So that was a long time ago. Okay. All right. 1 for 1. So I'm going the other one. And I think he was in the 80s when they drafted him number 1 overall. And I don't know if they've drafted anyone since then, since Troy Aikman, because Prescott was a 4th rounder. Romo was undrafted free agent. I'm going Cowboys.
I should play a sounder right now, Bri. 1989.
Was that Troy Aikman?
Aikman was the last.
Right. Okay.
So those are the only 2 teams in 35 years, Bri, 35 years that have not drafted a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah. My initial thoughts were the expansion teams, because you got the Texans, but they just drafted C.J. Stroud. The Jaguars drafted Trevor Lawrence. The Panthers drafted Bryce Young. So, I'm just kind of checking off teams as I'm going through them.
But even with the expansion, though, Houston, David Carr, number 1 pick. Browns,
David Carr,
number 1 pick.
Oh, yeah,
Jacksonville.
Sure.
So, just think about that. And by the way, how many first-round quarterbacks had the Browns drafted?
Not as many as you think, really. Brady Quinn, Tim Couch, Brandon Weeden, Manziel. I think.
Baker.
Baker. So you had two at number 1 and 3 at 22.
I swear there was another one in there.
Unless I'm missing one, I can't think of any.
Yeah, well, somebody will come into the comments for that.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, let's get into our top 3, and then we will close out the show, brother. All right, top 3 biggest surprises in the NFL draft, Brian. Now, granted, it's going to be a little bit more since 90s closer to us.
Right.
I believe. But, Brian, do you want to go first with your top 3?
No, you go ahead. I got them written down here.
All right, so number 3 for me, Brian, was honestly, and it's a Browns pick, Trent Richardson. I was not expecting Trent Richardson. I was so excited about Trent Richardson being picked number 4, as everybody else was. But how that turned out ended up horribly. And I mean horribly. All right. Number 2 for me, Bri, the Oakland Raiders and Jamarcus Russell. How quickly that kid climbed up the draft board to be a number 1 pick just baffles the ever-loving hell out of me. All because he was big and he could throw. One
good game. One good bowl game.
I know. And it floored me with that. And Bri, my number 1, and it's only because I called it and you were really upset about it. When the Browns traded back up and got Johnny freaking Manziel, Bri, it shocked me because I was like, oh, they're getting him right here. I'm like, here they come. And I texted you. I remember the text I sent to you. Like, here it comes. Show me the money. And as soon as they did it, I was floored. I couldn't even, like, no more. I'm like, okay, I don't even know what to do now. And especially the stories that we heard that it came from a homeless person on the street that made that pick.
Yeah.
You know, but that pick, I never thought that they would draft Johnny Manziel. I really didn't, because at that point in time, it was too much. I think it was too much for Cleveland to take on with Johnny Mania, and they did it, Bri, and it shocked the shit out of me. What about you?
Well, I'm going to try to move relatively quick here in case I cut out. Yes, I had to put Brown's moment on there, and the Johnny one surely was shocking. But I just don't want to have Manziel in my top three, so I put the Brady Quinn slide. And yeah, you can any quarterback, Quinn, Manziel, even Aaron Rodgers, like quarterbacks you expected to go top 5. That's why we could see a Shedeur slide this year. So yeah, that was my number 3. I had to get a Browns one in there. My number 2, forget what year it was, the Minnesota Vikings not turning in their pick in time.
Twice. They did twice.
Yeah, and I believe. Right, I believe. Well, I think 2 teams jumped them. I think 1 team for sure, but I think maybe 2 or maybe even 3 teams jumped them and picked up before them, and then they had to come back and take their guy and say, "Oh yeah, we just wanted him all along. Now we don't have to pay him as much money because he was the 11th pick rather than the 8th pick or whatever." So yeah, never seen anything like that. And then speaking of things you've never seen, Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah.
A top 3 pick. Something comes out on social media, him smoking weed with a gas mask, and he slides all the way to 13. It was like a soap opera. It was something like just sheer chaos. It was just wild. It came out like an hour before. Like his stepdad released it. What's that?
I thought it was like I didn't know it was an hour before. I thought it was
it was like an hour, maybe 2 hours before. His stepfather was trying to blackmail him. Hey, I'm going to release this video unless you give me what I want. And he didn't give him what he wanted. He released it, and his draft stock slid because of it. Now he's made a ton of money in the league, and he's been a really good player since then. But just absurd, like so crazy, like just unfolding it in front of our eyes. It was awesome.
All right. Well, those are our top 3. If you have some top 3, throw them up on the comments. We'll catch them up. And you can always message us at Ham Illegal on all of our socials and at Network 216, and we'll respond to you. All right, Brad, we're here at the end of the show. We want to thank our troops and first responders for everything you guys do. We wouldn't be able to do this show without you. Thank you so much. Brad, God bless them.
God bless you. God bless America.
All right, we're Illegal Ham to the Face. We're definitely uncorked, unloaded. We're out, and we will see you after the draft next week. Say it.